In the vastness of the void, before time itself existed, there was only silence, a stillness so profound that it seemed to echo eternally. Yet, from this emptiness, two fundamental forces began to stir. Danu, the nurturing mother, emerged from the depths of nothingness. Her essence was gentle yet powerful, a soft glow illuminating the dark expanse around her. With each ripple of her presence, she beckoned forth the promise of growth and life. She wasn't a force of chaos, but a quiet strength, embodying the very essence of fertility and transformation. As she moved, her being mirrored the grace of flowing rivers, nurturing the void with boundless potential. In this moment, as light began to pierce the darkness, the stage was set for the birth of creation. Opposite Danu, across the vast expanse, came Be, the fiery father. His entrance was defined by a surge of energy, breaking the silence with purpose and intention. He radiated warmth, a steady flame that contrasted with Danu's fluidity. This was not a wild energy. It was a focused intensity, igniting the darkness and bringing motion to the stillness. Be's presence was dynamic, towering over the void with luminous hair that shimmered like the embers of a long-forgotten fire. Together, these two forces met in a harmonious union, a dance of contrasts that began to mold the nothingness into something tangible. With Danu's nurturing and Be's igniting spark, light cascaded into the void, shattering the eternal silence as motion awakened the cosmos. As their union deepened, the world itself began to take shape from the confluence of their energies. With each pulse of life they breathed into existence, the stark void transformed into a nascent realm filled with potential. Mountains began to rise, rivers carved their paths through the land, and new forms of life were gently coaxed into being. The balance they created laid the very foundation for everything that would follow, a perfect synthesis of nurturing and igniting the elements of creation. In this moment, as the first whispers of life emerged from the darkness, the world not only became a place of balance and beauty, it also began to echo with the promise of stories yet unwritten, a foreshadowing of the epic narrative of creation that was about to unfold. Thus, the birth of creation marked the beginning of an extraordinary journey, where every spark of life would carry the legacy of Danu and Be forevermore. From the essence of Danu and Be, the spirit of Ireland, Aru, arises, imbued with the very vitality of the land itself. She embodies not just the earth, but the heartbeat that pulses through the valleys and hills. As she stretches her presence across the barren void, life begins to flourish under her watchful gaze. The silence that once enveloped the nothingness is pierced by her voice, a gentle hum that resonates with the whispers of nature. Through her connection to Danu's nurturing waters and Be's transformative light, Aru finds her purpose to awaken the land and breathe life into its core. In this moment of creation, we see the harmony of energies converging, showcasing the divine influence that surrounds them. As Aru harmonizes with the elements, the once lifeless expanse transforms into vibrant landscapes, and every movement she makes sends ripples of energy through the void. Mountains rise majestically, their peaks reaching toward the sky, while rivers wind their way through valleys, carving paths filled with promise. Each rock and blade of grass embodies her essence, reflecting a beauty that is both raw and profound. Flora bursts forth in a riot of colors, flowers bloom, trees stretch toward the sun, and the air is filled with the sweet scent of earth awakening. This isn't merely land being formed. It is a living, breathing entity coming alive, responding to Aru's touch as the essence of creation envelopes it, weaving together a world rich with life and history. Aru stands not just as a creator, but as the guardian of this new land. Her connection is absolute, and in her presence, the balance of nature is established. She encourages growth, urging the rivers to flow smoothly and the trees to grow tall, embodying the resilience of life itself. Yet, Aru is also a stern protector, ensuring that those who dwell within her realms respect the cycles of nature. As the vitality of the landscapes flourishes, so too does the harmony between the land and its inhabitants. Ireland, awakened and filled with life, is no longer a barren void. It is a sacred place where divinity and reality coexist, setting the stage for the stories and legends yet to unfold. In this newfound world, Aru stands as a testament to the power of creation, a symbol of hope and continuity in a vibrant landscape teeming with potential. Recognizing the profound need for guardians to protect and nurture the vibrant landscapes of their creation, Danu and Be united their energies to bring forth the Tuatha Dé Danann. This extraordinary race of divine beings was not merely created. They were birthed from the very essence of magic, wisdom, and craft that infused the land they inhabited. Each member of the Tuatha Dé Danann possessed unique gifts, allowing them to thrive in harmony with the world and each other. As the embodiment of the divine force, they stood ready to shape the fate of Ireland, bringing their powers to bear on the land and its inhabitants. With this new emergence, the stage was set for both beauty and conflict, where the realms of mortal and divine were intertwined like the roots of ancient trees in the sacred earth. Among these renowned beings was the Dagda, often described as the great god, who embodied both strength and abundance. He towered above the rest, his presence radiating vitality and power. Carried by his three great treasures, the club that could both create and destroy, the magical cauldron that never ran dry, and the harp that governed the seasons, the Dagda symbolized the balance between might and generosity. As a protective force, he not only provided sustenance to the Tuatha Dé Danann, but also cherished the harmonious life unfolding in their sacred land. His laughter resonated in the valleys as he guided his people with wisdom and purpose, ensuring that strength served life rather than diminished it. With the Dagda leading, the Tuatha Dé Danann stood fortified, a beacon of hope against adversities yet to come. In stark contrast to the Dagda's nurturing essence was the fierce war goddess, the Morrigan, a crucial figure within the pantheon of the Tuatha Dé Danann. Her presence was both commanding and enigmatic, a harbinger of destiny, who ensured that power aligned with the purpose of protecting the land and its people. She was often seen as a shapeshifter, taking forms of crows or ravens, observing the battlefield from above, her eyes piercing through the chaos and uncertainty. The Morrigan's influence resonated during times of strife, rallying the Tuatha Dé Danann as they faced conflicts from rival inhabitants of the land. Her fierce spirit ensured that the power and wisdom of the Tuatha Dé Danann were not misused, as she demanded clarity and honor in their endeavors. Together, the Dagda and the Morrigan embodied the duality of creation and protection, allowing the Tuatha Dé Danann to not only govern the land, but also guard it against the shadows of greed and chaos that threatened to disrupt the balance they had forged. As they emerged into this world, the future of Ireland hung suspended, awaiting the unfolding of their divine story. As the Tuatha Dé Danann emerged into the world, their power and stature began to grow, catching the attention of the divine realms around them. Recognizing that these celestial beings needed guidance on their path to greatness, Danu and Be sent them to the 4 great cities of the otherworld, each a mystical realm devoted to honing their unique talents. These cities were not mere places, but living entities that nurtured the essence of the Tuatha Dé Danann. Here, they would learn the arts of craft, the strategies of warfare, and the wisdom needed to lead their people with compassion and strength. As they journeyed to these sacred locales, a new chapter began, one that would shape not just their identities, but also the fate of Ireland. In the city of Foos, the foundation of wisdom and spiritual knowledge, the Tuatha Dé Danann beheld the profound teachings of the ancient Druids. Under the guidance of the wise sage Moresa, they learned to understand the intricate bond between nature and magic. Each lesson was a thread woven into their essence, fostering their ability to navigate the cycles of life and use their gifts for the benefit of all. Foos was not merely an educational haven. It was where the nascent gods began to recognize the immense responsibility of power. From this city, they stepped closer to understanding that wisdom is most powerful when coupled with humility, a lesson that would resonate through the ages. Meanwhile, in the other cities, Goris, Murius, and Finus, the Tuatha Dé Danann were similarly transformed. Goris taught them the art of warfare, shaping them into skilled strategists through discipline and foresight. In Murius, they discovered the secrets of creation and sustenance, honing skills that would ensure the prosperity of their people. Finally, in Finus, their mastery over craftsmanship was perfected, equipping them with the tools to forge both beauty and strength. Each city not only polished their skills, but simultaneously foreshadowed the challenges that awaited them upon their return to Ireland. The Tuatha Dé Danann were on the verge of greatness, yet the lessons learned within these enchanted realms prepared them for adversities they could not yet foresee. As they emerged from the four great cities, they carried with them not just divine talents, but also a deeper understanding of sacrifice, responsibility, and the delicate balance of power, a balance that would soon be tested in ways they could not imagine. In a dramatic swirl of mist and magic, the Tuatha Dé Danann descended upon the sacred land of Ireland, their arrival marked by a dazzling display of light and energy. As they stepped onto the soil, the very essence of the land began to stir and awaken, responding to the divine presence now among them. Rivers flowed more vigorously, forests rustled in anticipation, and the hills themselves seemed to swell with life at this extraordinary event. It was a moment filled with promise and purpose, a pivotal intersection of creation that signaled the start of a new epic. However, amidst the wonder and beauty of their arrival, the Tuatha Dé Danann were not welcomed as conquerors, but as challengers in a realm already steeped in its own history and power. As the divine inhabitants set foot on this vibrant land, they soon encountered the existing inhabitants, the Fir Bolg, a proud and formidable people who had long cultivated the earth and established their own kingdoms. To the Fir Bolg, the arrival of the Tuatha Dé Danann was not seen as a blessing, but as an encroachment, a threat to the life and stability they had built. Tensions rose like storm clouds on the horizon, as both sides recognized the inevitability of a confrontation. For the Tuatha Dé Danann, the land they believed was inherently theirs by right of destiny became a battleground, a place where bloodlines, honor, and divinity would clash to determine who would claim Ireland as their sacred home. In the days that followed, both the Tuatha Dé Danann and the Fir Bolg prepared for battle, each side steeling themselves for a conflict that would test the mettle of both mortals and gods. The Tuatha Dé Danann, with their mastery of magic and divine gifts, strategized and rallied around their leaders, the strong Dagda and the fierce Morrigan, ready to harness the powers they had acquired from the four great cities. Meanwhile, the Fir Bolg, proud warriors of the land and defenders of their heritage, steeled their resolve to protect their home against what they perceived as an invasion. The air was thick with anticipation and uncertainty as whispers of war began to weave their way through the valleys and hills. This confrontation would not only shape the fate of Ireland, but also decide the very nature of coexistence between the divine and the mortal, headed toward an epic showdown that would echo through legend and story for generations to come. As the narrative unfolds, the stage is set for an impending clash that will forever alter the landscape of Ireland, the confrontation between the Tuatha Dé Danann and the Fir Bolg. The air is thick with tension, echoing with the promise of conflict as both sides prepare for a battle that will test not only their strength, but also their resolve. On one hand, the Tuatha Dé Danann arrive filled with confidence, buoyed by their divine powers and the knowledge gained from the four great cities. On the other, the Fir Bolg, proud and capable, stand firm in their commitment to protect the land they have called home for generations. This anticipated clash is more than just a fight over territory. It symbolizes the collision of two worlds, two ways of life, and the conflicting forces of order and chaos that are destined to come to a head. In the midst of these brewing tensions, the shadow of chaos looms ever closer. The Fir Bolg view the arrival of the Tuatha Dé Danann as a threat to their way of life, igniting fears of disruption and uncertainty. As the Tuatha Dé Danann settle into their new environment, the intricate web of their past is revealed, a history rich with struggles, triumphs, and survival against the odds. The tales of heroes, legends, and battles long forgotten ripple through the land, foreshadowing the remarkable evolution of beings who are not just gods in form, but warriors of light and magic. Their journey is destined to be one of challenges and revelations, as they learn that true power lies not only in strength, but in unity and understanding. Stay tuned for the next chapter in this unfolding saga, where battles, alliances, and heroic deeds will shape the fate of the Tuatha Dé Danann and the legacy they leave behind. The outcomes of their actions will resonate through time and echo in the hearts of the mortal inhabitants of Ireland,